8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We had Watkins Glen and then we had Bristol Dirt. Two very unique races on the schedule, but now it's time to get back to a more traditional oval for race 7 of the Trish's Learning Center Gen 6 series. Texas Motor Speedway for Drafty's Birthday Bash 150. And I know all of these drivers are ready for this one. Welcome in, everyone. I am Joshua King, and this is the PGHA pre-race show. We're going to talk to Marty White and Drafty Beef himself here in just a few minutes. But let's take a look here at our race info for tonight's event. Once again, Texas Motor Speedway for Drafty's Birthday Bash 150. Shout him out in the chat. Everyone wish him a happy birthday here, and maybe he'll get a win tonight. 67 degrees Fahrenheit for the temperature, 93% humidity, very humid, cloudy, and high winds. Depending on what direction those winds are blowing, that could play a factor in the speeds and lap times and potentially even the car control on the front stretch or the back stretch. We will have to see. We're in Fort Worth, Texas, just about a mile and a half. And so we're going 100 laps tonight to complete the 150. Track temp right now, 73 degrees, so nice and cool. Probably going to make this a very exciting race, less loose, I would imagine, than what drivers have experienced in practice. Let's go ahead now and get with this guy here. New paint for the 69 of Marty White out of Avon, Massachusetts. He's a mid-tier racing driver. 26 years old is Marty. We're going to find him. Marty, Joshua up in the booth. You got a copy, sir?
Yes, I do, Josh.
Right on, man. We're taking a look at that new 69 paint you got on there. Good looking ride. Let's talk about how you're feeling coming into tonight at Texas, a more traditional oval for a NASCAR group of guys versus the last two races that we've done.
Feeling a little bit nervous about it. In practice, it was pretty loose. It seems a little tighter now. I don't have too much practice time because of the race last night, but we'll see how it goes.
Right on, man. Well, I mean, you never know what could happen. You come into tonight, Marty, sitting 15th in points, but you're just 14 out from a potential spot in that playoff chase, if you will. how much would a top 5 or top 10 help you tonight to kind of propel those playoff hopes?
To be honest, I'm not too concerned about the playoffs. Being in the playoffs would be nice, but I'm just here for the fun and racing with everyone.
Right on, man. Well, that's a good expectation to have. Then you're not let down like some of the guys will definitely be. They only take 12 to the playoffs. So anybody you'd like to thank or shout out tonight, Marty, before we let you get back to work?
Well, first off, I want to shout you out for the awesome broadcast. Everyone at my team, they helped me out a lot with explaining things on how to drive and be faster and better.
Right on, man. Well, cool. We'll let you get back to it. Anything you'd like to say about that paint?
Just touch grass.
All right, man. Sounds good. Marty, go back to it, sir. You got that 69 sitting 16th quick in practice, but you still got about 10 minutes to go.
Yes, sir.
Once again, folks, that was the driver of the mid-tier racing number 69, Marty White, joining us in the booth that's on your screen there. And now we're going to get with the birthday boy himself, which is right here in the Royalty Motorsports Drafty Beef, birthday beef Chevy Camaro. Nice looking birthday paint there from Drafty, and he made it himself. But let's get with the number 2 right now. Drafty, Joshua up in the booth. You got a copy, sir?
I got you, buddy.
Right on, man. Well, we're admiring the birthday paint that you got on the car, and I mentioned, of course, is done by you yourself, so that's pretty darn cool.
Thank you.
I guess, first of all, happy birthday from myself and in the chat. I know it's tomorrow, but several people in the chat wishing you a happy birthday, buddy.
Well, thank you to you and everybody in chat wishing me a happy birthday.
Heck yeah, man. So as of right now, in practice anyway, you're sitting 13th quick. Tell us how you feel coming into tonight, getting back to a more traditional NASCAR oval type of race, and how you specifically feel at Texas.
Well, I felt a lot better before seeing everyone else's lap times.
That's fair.
No, I had a good finish last week. I do really enjoy dirt racing. I know a lot of people did not, so I had a slight advantage there. Here, I think my advantage will be is if I can save tires better than some of the guys in front of me, and that'll be how I'll kind of gain positions if we get some long green flag runs. I don't see myself getting any quicker, unfortunately, but we'll have to see how tonight goes. I'm just looking forward to hopefully a good, clean race from everybody, and just a good overall race for the league.
Right on, man. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. Huge field tonight, biggest one we've had all season, so that's awesome, getting bigger as we approach midway through the season. Last week, Drafty, you came into the night sitting 16th in points. It had been a really, really rough season. You had a lot of really strong runs, even potential candidates for wins at times, or of course top 5s, plagued by mistakes or finding others' mistakes. Last week, you finally put it all together. You finished 3rd. You got a podium on the season, first one of the year, and now we come into tonight, you're sitting 12th. Talk to me about what that 3rd place finish last week can do for you driving the rest of the season and the confidence and success going forward.
I'll tell you, definitely put a little pep in my step. Looking forward to the second half of the season here now. A little bit of pressure, though, sitting on this cut line. Gotta have a good race tonight. Like I said, I can't be having any mistakes. I gotta stay out of other people's trouble. So it's the name of the game tonight. I think if I can just not make mistakes, stay out of trouble, I should be able to have a good finish.
Yeah, man, I think like you said, stay out of trouble and save those tires. That's going to go a long way and potentially make the difference between a top 10 and finishing even outside the top 15 by the way it looks. But yeah, you come out of here with a top 10, and that'll definitely propel you even a little bit further, get you a little bit out of that pressure zone for making that chase and in a good spot. So we'll let you get back to work, sir, for the last 6 minutes or so of practice. But before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out this evening?
Definitely, I'd like to thank, got to shout out the team, Royalty Motorsports, and all our sponsors, of course, SM Racing Products, and also Majestic Promotional Branded Apparel, making a lot of the team happen here and keeping us going. And of course, then I just got to thank my other admins for helping make this league all possible, and the drivers who, without them, we wouldn't have anybody to race against. So I'd like to thank all of them, and just hope they all have a good race and a good show tonight for you.
Right on, man. Well, I appreciate you joining us for your birthday bash pre-race show, and now about 5 minutes or so, and you'll be putting on a show, hopefully having yourself a good race. Best of luck to you tonight, sir. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Once again, folks, that was the Royalty Motorsports driver number 2, Drafty Beef, celebrating his birthday one night early with us tonight, and hopefully we will have something to celebrate after the race. Good looking car there for Drafty. Let's take a look through the field for the last 5 minutes as we get ready for qualifying. This is your quick time so far in practice. That's the 5 of Nick Boyd. Led some laps late last week, and if you missed the finish, I recommend going back to watch that one. That was an exciting race through and through, to be honest. A lot of caution flags on the Bristol dirt track, but Nick Boyd looking to bounce back here at Texas. Then we go second quick right now. That's the 37 of Jake Raven in that Liquid Death Kokogi Motorsports Chevy Camaro. Slick looking ride there for Jake Raven. We're going to go back to this camera, though, instead of getting a shot at the fence. One we're going to look at coming down the road, I think my mother, Denise King, in the chat will get a laugh at. We saw it briefly last week, and there's Latham Joyner. He's got the number 3 third quick right now. And here's the 4 car in the Snap-on Tools Ford Mustang. That's Jeremy Gill, having himself a great season. Spoke to him last week in the pre-race show and found trouble. But other than that, really nice season for that 4 car in mid-tier racing. Here's Kenny Kucko in the 11 as he pulls off track there. Kokogi Motorsports Chevy Camaro. Here's Jim Thorndike in the red, white, and blue Chevy Camaro for Jim. Been running that paint almost all year long, I feel like, and working well for him, so sticking to it. And this one is the one I wanted to call out. Christian Proctor, if we can go. Let's go to the rear chase cam. And yes, folks, that is me front and center on the hood of that thing. I don't know how he wound up getting all these pictures or how long it took him. We didn't talk to him last week, but we're going to talk to him actually right now. Let's get with the 13 of Christian Proctor. I wanted to talk to him about this paint last week. Didn't have a chance. Christian, Joshua up in the booth. You got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir. You got me?
Yes, sir, I do. Random poll, I know, for an interview, so don't worry, it won't be high pressure. But I wanted to speak with you last week regarding the paint, and we never had an opportunity to. So I wanted to get you in now while we got a couple minutes. Tell us what inspired this paint, for one, and two, how you managed to get all of these pictures of everybody, including myself, front and center on the hood.
So basically, last week was April Fool's, and I was like, I want to make a funny paint just of the team. And so with Modi's help, he grabbed some pictures off of Facebook of some of the teammates, and the teammates sent pictures themselves too, just to get something they liked, I guess. But Modi was like, let's see if we can find the broadcaster. So he linked you up and found a picture of you that we threw on the hood. It was Modi's idea to put you on here, but I love it.
It's awesome, man. I noticed it just slightly last week when you were coming out for qualifying, and I saw the faces, but then as you came onto the track, I was like, wait a minute, is that my picture on the that thing? Oh, man, it's a good one. I love those types of things. Funny to see, really cool paint you got on there. And I know we're closing in on a minute till qualifying, so I'm not going to keep you, sir, but best of luck to you tonight, Christian. You're having a heck of a season, and I'm more than certain we'll be talking about you on the Speedway.
I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Once again, that was the 13 of Christian Proctor, and he's going back here to mid-tier racing guys. Get him back there, but hopefully all of you enjoyed that one. That's a good one. Let's see who else is on track still with less than a minute remaining. This is the 70 of Dylan Canova in the red, white, and blue revved up racing Ford Mustang. Victory Fuel Ford Mustang, as so many times we see him on the Speedway during the race. He's next to Latham Joyner in practice. Aikman Pollard back with us tonight. The 2.5 design Chevy Camaro, number 25. That's a nice looking paint for Aikman Pollard. Started racing with Aikman back in the Lucky Dog Racing League, and you may recognize his name. He's one heck of a driver and been in a couple different leagues here at one time, as a matter of fact, and stepped away for a while. Now he's back, so good to see the 25 of Pollard back with us. Currently 11th quick in the practice time, and that's where he'll sit as we look to get going qualifying as the flag waves on our practice session. And it looks like the first guy, one of the first guys to take it is going to be Jim Thorndike. There, we've already seen him. Let's take a look here. 03 at Nick Raffini, revved up racing Ford Mustang. Back with us again. Rob Higgs Jr. in that traditional pink and purple mid-tier racing Semper Fi Marines Ford Mustang for Rob Higgs Jr. We just saw Christian Proctor. We already saw Nick Boyd. Here's J.D. Van Kirk in the 22. Colorful ride for Van Kirk. This is autism awareness paint for JD, who has a child that suffers from autism, and several racers that we're close to here experience that, or have children that experience that as well. So Autism Awareness Month is April, ladies and gentlemen. Some great charities out there and people that do some great work for autism around the country, around the world. There's the 22 of Van Kirk. Dalton Moore with us this week as well, and you're probably thinking, yeah, that looks pretty similar to Aikman Pollard, and it is. Teammates for the 2.5 Designs guys there in the 24 and 25. Christian Proctor to the top of the board right now, quickly beat out by Davis Shively. Let's take a look at Shively. He ran a 29.66. Latham Joyner to the top of the board on lap 2 for Joyner, 29.52. Nick Boyd, second quick on lap 2 for him, 29.55. He'll start outside row 1 as of right now. Jorge Ledesma Jr. turns in a great time, 29.61. Kenny Coco takes over second quick, 29.53, just off the pace of the pole. He'll start beside teammate Latham Joyner, should no one else beat him out. Nick Baum on his second lap, sixth quick, just outside the top 5, 29.63. Christian Proctor, he finalized at fourth quick. Here's Jake Raven. He sits seventh. He's done. Everyone qualifies at once. It's really tricky. Jeremy Gill coming to a close, 15th quick for Gill. Dalton Moore, we took a brief look at him, 16th quick for him. Pollard, his teammate, 17th quick on lap 1. Does he improve on lap 2? He does. 11th quick for Pollard. 29.69. 29.69 for Aikman Pollard in that 25. Couple guys still out there getting to work on it. Here's the 83 of Shane Wheeldon. Of course, we'll bring you the full starting grid, and man, it's a large one. 83 of Wheeldon coming around to take his first lap. Jarrett Martin also out there in the 00. Looks like a new paint for Jarrett Martin. Procore Ford Mustang for Martin. Lap 2 was 30.13. 24th quick on the grid for Jarrett Martin. He's got some work to do. Drafty Beef, not a good qualifying lap from him. He's 25th quick right now. Must have had issues on his second lap or maybe even his first. Yeah, I think that means I've made it. Shane Wheeldon looked like he only ran one lap, but maybe I missed the second one. Rough qualifying for Wheeldon, 30.44, 26th quick for Wheeldon. Here's Patrick Gentner in the M&M's Toyota Camry number 18. Yeah, I think it means I made it when I got on the hood of a car, maybe. We'll see. At least I made it in this series. And Gentner comes around to put his first lap time in. Or maybe that was to start. Interesting. So Gentner still out there. Lone Ranger right now on the speedway. Zach White in the 77. Electing not to qualify, and Gentner won't get a time in. That's kind of what happens when you start too late at these bigger tracks, as you see the infield fill up now with haulers and RVs and everything else. And now they're in their warm-up session, which will be 5 minutes long or so. We'll see the checkered flag wave. Everyone in chat, give me your picks. I want to hear them. Who you picking to win this one this evening? There's Patrick Gentner coming out on track during the warm-up session. Nick Boyd we saw already. Aikman Pollard we saw already. Only 3 guys out there right now. Actually, Pollard's not even out there. He's just in pit. I really like that paint there, that metallic or chrome orange with the actual chrome. Nice look there. Here's the 5 of Nick Boyd. He was second quick in practice. He qualified third quick, I believe, after Kenny Kucko took over second place. Just going out there, get a little feel for something, I'd assume. A lot of people we haven't had an opportunity to take a look at in the field this evening just yet. We got a brief glance at this guy, Nick Baum. He's looking to bounce back. This is his 3rd race of the season. His last 2 have started tremendously and quickly went south and found himself in trouble early on, trying to rebound multiple laps down. So I know Nick Baum looking to avoid early incident this week. Waiting on our starting grid, folks. Let's take a good view or a good look at the blimp view here at Texas Motor Speedway. Little foggy, perhaps, this evening. Of course, high humidity I mentioned, and fairly cool track temps that will probably develop slightly throughout the evening. Want to hear, everyone, who's your picks to win this thing? I think we got 28 guys about to grid up here in this field. It's going to be a big one, but Good to see growth even midway through the season. Make for some exciting racing. Jeff, hello. Go Shane Wheeldon. Yes, Shane Wheeldon did not have a great qualifying effort, Jeff. We're going to bring you the starting grid here momentarily, but I know it's not what Shane would have wanted. But it's a long race, and you never know what could happen. You kind of avoid some things and put yourself in a good position by the end of it to win it. Amber says, come on, Martin. She's referring to Jarrett Martin in that 00 that we just briefly got to take a look at the end of practice. Always in here supporting Jarrett Martin. Appreciate the support. I know Jarrett appreciates the support. I appreciate all of you being in here right now. Much appreciated for sure. Going to be a good one tonight. I'm ready to get back to more traditional oval racing. Last week's race was a lot of fun. The week before that was amazing. Got to see Brock Morris make his way basically all the way from the back of the field to the front for the win. And in true dominating fashion, I do say so myself, but this should be a good one. I'm expecting a lot of close racing throughout the whole field all night long. Warm-up session is wrapping up, so we're going to have your starting grid for you in about 10 seconds. Amber says, let's go JMR. JMR, Jarrett Martin Racing. So we got Jarrett Martin as well as Timothy Presley. Timothy Presley, due to incidents on the final lap of last week's race at Bristol Dirt, came out with the win, folks. And like I mentioned, I know I just gave a little bit of a spoiler, but if you haven't seen it, go back, watch that whole race. It is a beauty. Let's get to the starting grid and get on with it. Latham Joyner in the 3 car will start on the pole. Kenny Cucko, his teammate in the 11 car, will start second. Nick Boyd in the 5 will roll off third. Christian Proctor in that 13 will start fourth. Jorge Ledesma Jr. will roll off fifth. Nick Baum will start sixth. Jake Raven in the 37 will start seventh. Davis Shively will roll off eighth. Jim Thorndike will start ninth, and rounding out your top 10 is the 70 of Dylan Canova. Aikman Pollard in that 25 will start 11th. Rob Higgs Jr. in the 14 will start 12th. Starting 13th is the 30 of Timothy Presley, and the 14th spot is going to be 51 of Jacob Wilson. Dan Ames in the 55 will roll off 15th. Jeremy Gill in the 4 will start 16th. Dalton Moore in the 24 will start 17th. Nick Raffini in the 03, 18th. Marty White in the 69 will start 19th. And rounding out your top 20 is the 53 of Robbie Minor. Kelly Akron will start 19th, or in the 19 will start 21st. J.D. Van Kirk will start 22nd in the 22. In 23rd will be Derek Catt in the 39. Jarrett Martin in the 00 will roll off 24th. And rounding out your field will be Drafty Beef in the 2 starting 25th. Shane Wheeldon in the 83 starting 26th. Patrick Gentner in the 18 starting 27th. And the 77 of Zach White starting 28th. Let's get down to the field and Latham Joyner as lights on the pace car off, and we'll get ready to go green flag racing for the first time tonight. Let's go up to the starter cam, and we're going to watch Barney get ready to drop the green flag for these boys as they come off of 4. And
Green flag.
The green flag waves for the first time in Drafty Beef Birthday Bash 150 here at Texas. Lap 1 is in the books, all clean and green, and Latham Joyner jumps out to just a bit of a lead as Kenny Kucko is content to fall in line. They're side by side behind him, though. Christian Proctor bounces off the wall, as many others do as well. Nick Boyd will settle into fourth. They're single file for the top 5 now. Jim Thorndike side by side with that 37 of Jake Raven. Thorndike on the inside. Plenty of room given by all drivers here. The 25 of Pollard perhaps flirting with looking to the inside. Oh, Thorndike's a little bit loose. Look out. They all keep it clean. Right behind him, Aikman Pollard working on Davis Shively. Shively back 3 already in the early going. 3 laps in, nearly 4. Now he's going to have company of Timothy Presley flirting with maybe looking inside, but no go. Latham Joyner must have got loose. He's back to 4th now. Kenny Kucko, your new leader. Christian Proctor up to 2nd. Joyner with Jorge Ledesma Jr. about a car length behind him. He settles back in. He'll look to get back going. Maybe get back up to the lead. Proctor looking to the outside of Kucko. Boyd single file in 3rd. Now Proctor way up the speedway. Gonna have to keep it out of the wall. He does. Good driving. Still flirting with the outside here for the lead. Not gonna have enough. He'll tuck it back in behind Kenny Kucko and in between Nick Boyd for now. Proctor getting good runs off exit of 4, allowing him to pull side by side with that 11. Nick Boyd now on the inside of him, and they're awfully close, nearly 3 wide. Latham Joyner's on the inside of Boyd now. Nick Baum moves into the 5 spot. Dylan Canova's up 4 already. Jorge Ledesma Jr. started 5th. He's back to 7th right now. Still doing a good job, though. Aikman Pollard up 2. Jeremy Gill's up 3. Robbie Minor's up 5. He's your biggest mover so far. Christian Proctor scored as your leader. If he can lead the lap, he does. Any point matters for teams and for drivers. All stacked up here. 7 cars under a blanket here right now as they're nearly 3 wide behind these guys. Nick Baum find himself in the middle. They kind of fan out a little bit and things cool off. Aikman Pollard already up 4. Working on Jorge Ledesma Jr. for that 7 spot. He's on the outside. Kucko continues to hold the lead. These guys continue to fan out 3 wide and then on exit go back to 2. This battle cools off a little bit. Here's a battle in the back. Jake Raven looking to get around Nick Raffini. Raven must have had issues. He's down 8. Battling his way back. Dalton Moore in the 24 looks to the inside of Raffini now. He's right where he started is Moore, 17th at the moment. J.D. Vankirk behind these guys up 4. Robbie Minor now up 6. Still your biggest mover in that 53. I'm sorry, Dylan Canova just went up 7 as he's working on Christian Proctor for 3rd. So he's up 7 being scored in 3rd, and him and Latham Joyner side by side, as we've seen basically the last 2 seasons. JD Van Kirk looking to the inside. Nick Baum potentially looking to the inside of Proctor here momentarily, as now they almost are 3 wide there. Proctor maybe thinks better of it, settles back in. Battle for second still is Kenny Kucko leads in that 11. Now Canova on the top side, at least for now, takes over the second spot. But Latham Joyner gonna battle back on him on the inside now. Nick Baum way up the racetrack. He does keep it off the wall. Got nervous there. Canova still holding strong. Holds off the battle back from Latham Joyner for now. Davis Shively is battling with the 4 car of Jeremy Gill. Gill started 15th. He's in 11th right now. Or I'm sorry, he started 16th up to 11th right now. He's up 5 on the evening. Oh, caution is out. I don't see. Interesting. Maybe this. I see on my screen Jarrett Martin jumped to pits, but I don't see why. Let's rewind this one. No, man. Full speed. What's going on? Maybe Marty White? No. Yellow flag was out here. Interesting. So Marty. Oh, hold on to it, Marty. Ooh, heavy contact on that left front from Marty White. I don't know if that's what brought out the caution. I don't think it is. Let's see if we can get a look here at what may have happened. I guess it was Marty White that brought out the caution, but my screen showed Marty White crashing after the flag came out. Whatever. We'll get back to live action as you'll see here the whole field down pit road. We'll see if we can't, let's see. No pit road cam, it would appear. Ah, yes, pit lane. Who wins the battle just in time and just the way they were. So no one made mistakes there, at least in the top 3. Aikman Pollard moved up on Proctor. Close race here in the back. JD looks like got Dalton Moore. That's for the 19th spot. As the rest of them come down. Nick Boyd, extended pit stop. Not sure why. What happened to Nick Boyd? Interesting. Kelly Akron, long pit stop. Marty White, of course, we saw him with the damage. He's off pit road, though. Interesting. Rob Higgs electing not to pit and get a lap lead. Like I said, every lap, every point matters. Marty White, oh, he's still down pit road. 15 minutes of required. Yep. I watched it, buddy, as did everyone else in here. So Marty White will lead us to green, but he'll soon be swarmed by the rest of the field who all took tires. Marty White, Jarrett Martin, the two drivers not on the lead lap currently, still unsure what happened to Martin. In fact, he's not even out on the speedway, so potentially technical difficulties for the 00 of Jarrett Martin. That's a tough break. Lights are off on the pace cars. We just saw our first pit stops of the night on lap 17. These guys will take us back to green. Rob Higgs and Kenny Kucko. Green flag is out for the second time tonight. Rob Higgs, pretty good jump there, even with the much older tires, but now here we go, he's 3 wide. Latham, Joyner, and Kucko have to find a way around him. They do. That puts Canova in the lead now, up 9, and you can see now Rob Higgs Jr. just going to be eaten alive by the rest of these guys slowly but surely, as they all have tires. It's nothing that he's doing wrong, just makes that big of a difference. Nick Baum nearly 3 wide for that second spot. He's right on the back bumper of the 3 of Latham Joyner, working on Kenny Kucko, who's on the inside. Very close quarters here. Baum still side by side. Now there's a battle for the lead. Latham Joyner looks to the inside of the 70 of Dylan Canova. They all keep it out of the wall. Off of 2 there. Into 3 they go, side by side for second. First and second right now. First 4 stacked up. The 2 behind them hoping it keeps up for a couple laps so they can continue to close that gap and put their name in the hat. Still side by side. Aikman Pollard and Jim Thorndike just loving this. They're able to basically save their tires, run their line, and reel these guys in as they stay side by side since the restart now. 5 laps of side by side action. Nick Baum way to the top of the speedway. Is he going to be 3 wide? No. Aikman Pollard is caught Kenny Kucko for the 4 spot as it sits right now. Now he backs it off a little bit. Probably didn't want to risk going side by side like these guys have. Some more good racing back here. Christian Proctor still working on Rob Higgs. Rob Higgs doing a heck of a job hanging in with the much older tires, still sitting 12th. Hasn't went through the field all as quick as I thought he would due to the old tires. Jacob Wilson in the top 10 now. Jeremy Gill rebounding after a rough qualifying. He's up 7. Timothy Presley is up 6 right there in that maroon and gray number 30 car. Battling currently with Jorge Ledesma Jr. for the 7th spot. Back behind them, Nick Raffini works on Rob Higgs, while Robbie Minor and Dalton Moore are side by side. Oh, now Raffini on the outside, Robbie Minor to the inside. They're 3 wide. Oh, they're 3 wide again as Minor must have got loose. Nick Boyd, not sure still what happened to him on the pit stop last time, but working his way back. Looks like maybe some damage on the right front of that thing. He's currently down 13, but he's working on coming up back through the field. Still a long way to go. 27 laps in, just over a quarter of the way done. Nick Baum has taken over second place on that outside from Latham Joyner for now. Kenny Kuko, though, pushing Joyner. As now they're very close, and 3 wide they go now again. Lots of 3 wide action here. Kuko's on the inside. Joyner backs out, goes to the top of 2. Baum will settle in the second now. Kuko gets into third. Joyner back to 4th. Aikman Pollard still watching all this right in front of him. Jim Thorndike not too far back. Jeremy Gill's up 9 now. He's up to 7th. As now Latham Joyner pushing Kenny Kuko, teammates with Kuko E-Motorsports there. Oh, hold on to it, Nick. Look out. Good save by Nick Baum there. He will lose a few spots, but nothing like what it could have been. Jeremy Gill now working on the 13 of Christian Proctor, followed by a whole group of cars here in this second pack. Those top 6 have broke off, and this, folks, is 7th through 14th right now. Jake Raven, the tail end of this group, in that black and white car, falling back just slightly. Robbie Minor must have had an incident. He's down pit road. Not sure why. Nothing came up on my screen. Down there for a very long time, though. As Jeremy Gill blinks a little bit, Jorge Ledesma Jr. in that 44 will look to his inside and get by. That's for the 8th spot. Dylan Canova, Kenny Kuko, Latham Joyner is still the lead. Kuko looking back on the inside again, but Joyner, or Canova rather, has been very strong holding off the pressure. Aikman Pollard is up into the 4th spot now. Caution is out.
Any comments there, bud?
At lap 34, it's like maybe Nick Raffini involved, Timothy Presley potentially. Let's take a look and see what might have happened here. There's the 30 of Presley getting loose. Oh, he tries to save it. Oh, and then it jerks back. Oh, into the 03. Raven, just a nick on the 03. Hard contact for the 03 and the 30 of Timothy Presley. And then more contact as Presley comes to a stop there with 03 of Raffini. So we're under caution for the second time tonight. Dylan Canova leads the way. There you see him in the 70 Ford Mustang. Lap 35. Robbie Minor. Oh, man, heavy damage there. So not sure what happened to Robbie, but it didn't trigger on our screen, so I wasn't sure what was going on. And this is interesting. We're seeing some strategy come into play here. It's not just an automatic pit stop for some of these guys. Canova stays out. Nick Baum, Proctor, Ledesma Jr., Shively, Jacob Wilson, Ames, Van Kirk, and Akron all stay out. That's going to be your top 9, folks. Everybody starting with this guy, Latham Joyner in the 3. Everyone else pitted. So Thorndike, Cucko, Pollard, Raven, Gill, Boyd, Cat, Gentner, Drafty Beef, Rob Higgs Jr., Shane Wheeldon, Zach White, Presley, Raffini, and Minor. Still down pit road, of course, but everyone else except for those top 9. This guy right here in the 19, Kelly Akron, that's going to be the first guy not to pit, or the last guy not to pit. He'll sit 9th right in the hornet's nest. And look at this guy, folks. Marty White wasn't kidding when he said he had a lot of damage to the ride. No front end, basically, to the car here. Look at that thing. But I got to give it to Marty. He's out here giving it what he's got. Every lap could matter. Every position matters. You never give up. Jarrett Martin's still not on the speedway. Not sure what happened to him. Lights are off on the pace car. Dylan Canova will lead us back to green along with Nick Baum beside him. Christian Proctor and Jorge Ledesma in row 2. Davis Shively and Jacob Wilson in row 3. See how these top 9 fare against the rest of the field with fresher tires. Almost 20 laps fresher tires, folks. That, you think about the difference it made for Rob Higgs Jr. Two guys that pitted after about 16 green flag laps after the first caution, and now put in that it's a couple more laps that we're about to see here, these top 9 dealing with. But sometimes you got to take a gamble if the race isn't going your way, or even if it is, such as Canova and Nick Baum. You got to see what might change it up and be the winning strategy. The green flag waves again as Canova leads us back to green. It looked like maybe Nick Baum, along with others, might have spun him. Canova out to a big jump here for the lead. Ledesma Jr. and Proctor side by side. Nick Baum getting the momentum going now as Proctor looks to the inside of Jorge Ledesma Jr. in the 44. Oh, and the caution out again.
Be ready with, there you go. Be ready with that brake clean and stuff, guys. Your blower, we're going to drop some oil right here, sure.
As now the no pit strategy might have just cost these guys immensely. And let's take a look at what happened here. I'll tell you why I say it might have cost them so much. We're looking at the 19 right in the middle there, 3 wide. Old Tires just comes up into the 24, back down into the 4. Oh, the 18, a Gentner involved. Whoo! Drafty Beef barely snuck by. The 30 of Presley involved again. Zach White nearly caught up in it, but he snuck by. And that, folks, brings out your third caution. But let's get back now to why I think it could have just cost these guys so much. If these top 8 now, because we saw Akron involved in the incident, if these top 8 or thereabouts decide to pit and catch up with everyone else, they're going to be in the back of the field now, being scored probably 20th back or so, 17th back. We got a couple guys not on the lead lap, but if they don't pit, it still remains that they're on much older tires than the guys that did pit now. And although potentially minimal, one lap could make even more of a difference. And now, of course, we're under caution, so laps are ticking off as well. But this already interesting, folks. 40 laps in. Presley is down pit road. Nick Boyd down there. Kelly Akron, of course. Patrick Gentner, both involved in that issue just moments ago that brought out our third caution of the evening as we approach halfway of Drafty Beef's Birthday Bash 150 here at Texas. I like the caution lights on the fence. It's pretty cool. Well, as they did last time, Nick Baum and Dylan Canova will lead us back to green this next time around as the lights are off on the pace car. And looks like the top 24 still going to be on the lead lap. Gentner still down pit road. Not sure if he pulled it out and brought it back in. It looks like a 2-minute pit stop, so he has been down there. He'll be laps down. Robbie Minor back out on the speedway now, being scored in 26th. As your top 4 still have yet to pit. Kenny Kuko, the highest of guys that did pit on the second caution, being scored 5th right now, and then 3 more guys in between him and the next. Jacob Wilson, Davis Shively, and J.D. Vankirk holding on to it there with old tires. As Canova will hit the restart zone, and we're off once again. And Canova, again, a very nice jump. Nick Baum pressured now by Christian Proctor on the inside. Jorge Ledesma Jr. on the outside. Kenny Kuko probably happy about that. He's going to go 3 wide on Proctor. And Nick Baum, see if he can't pull off the 2-for-1. Proctor pulls it down. Nick Baum goes to the bottom side. Proctor going to fall back to Nick Baum. Good driving, trying to defend there, as now Kuko's on the inside of him. Latham Joyner, I have to believe, will follow him through. This is those older tires starting to come into play. Christian Proctor, oh, Nick Baum, hard lick off the wall. Proctor and Baum still holding on. Top 5 right now. Jake Raven, the next guy to potentially hunt them down with the newer tires. As some of these guys continue to hold on very nicely despite having older tires. J.D. Vankirk going to be pressured by a lot of those guys here momentarily. Here's Drafty Beef. He currently sits 15th. He's up 10 on the night. Battling right now with the 39 of Jake Raven, or Derek Catt, and the 4 of Jeremy Gill. Whew. 3, nearly 4 wide here for a second. Goes Drafty Beef. He's still 3 wide, I believe. Now he's on the top side of Jeremy Gill. Gill holds it down there nicely. Oh, and they wreck right behind him. Derek Catt, it looks like. With Jim Thorndike potentially. Couple cars involved. We just saw it start up. These guys that we're watching, Drafty Beef, Rob Higgs Jr., J.D. Van Kirk, Jeremy Gill, narrowly avoided. Let's take a look here at what happened to Derek Catt. As we saw him live get involved. Oh, the 22 very loose. He had to try to avoid him. Came down into the 85. 85 gets tagged by the 60 or the 59, and Catt might be done for the evening, as he took a huge lick to that outside wall. Dig Derek Catt. Tough break there. Strategy was paying off. He was doing a good job. Just had nowhere to go trying to avoid Van Kirk, who had gotten loose. I think it happened so fast he didn't have time to even think if he was going to come down, and that's a tricky part of the track there. But see what happens now if, as Christian Proctor is in, Shively's in, a lot of these guys that played the gamble now coming in. Canova still staying out. He's managed to hang on to third. Jorge Ledesma Jr., Jacob Wilson still staying out as well. But here's your leader, Kenny Kucko. Let's take a quick commercial break here as we approach halfway. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. You saw picture-in-picture, the lights on the pace car went off. We're getting ready to go back racing. Derek Catt, 39 minutes required. Ah, man, that's a night ender, I believe, sir. That's unfortunate. You were doing a great job, man. And just left with nowhere to go, sir. Rough go there. Kenny Kucko will lead us back to green with Latham Joyner beside him. Both those guys got laps on lap 35. Dylan Canova last got tires, last got laps. I just noticed what I said. Last got tires on lap 35. Dylan Canova got tires on lap 16, as did Nick Baum, who's running 5th. We'll see how that plays out now with Jacob Wilson as well in that mix. Lap 16. We're back under green flag conditions, and Kenny Kucko leads the way, being pushed by the 70 of Dylan Canova. Oh, the 70 very loose. He's going to have to pull back on it. He's way up the speedway. That's going to allow Nick Baum to get by him. Jake Raven in that 37 will eventually go on by. Jake Raven is up to 4th now. Up 3 on the night. Canova still battling Aikman Pollard here in that orange and black. Slick looking 25, but Pollard will get it done. Nick Baum, oh, couple guys off the wall. Jeremy Gill, one of them. Canova, one of them. Nick Baum, one of them. As Pollard now takes over the 4 spot. He's up 7, having himself a heck of a run. Jeremy Gill, your biggest mover as of right now, up 9, with Drafty Beef also up 9. Jeremy Gill off the wall again. Right now, no one beside him though, so no one to run into. A lot of good racing back here. Jorge Ledesma Jr. and battling with Jacob Wilson on those older tires. Jorge Ledesma Jr. has the older tires. They're merely just trying to hold these guys off. Because now they're 3 wide right behind them. Jacob Wilson on the outside. Dalton Moore was in the middle. He's still in the middle. Getting wobbly. Nick Boyd coming up through the field. Maybe he got all his damage fixed and now he's got new tires. Look out. He passes Wilson for the 11th spot. Set his sights on Davis Shively, who's equal in tires to him though. So they together will set their sights on this man, Jorge Ledesma Jr. Still hanging inside that top 10 with the old tires. Shively's going to look to the inside and go by. Nick Boyd will do the same, and now starting to catch up with them potentially. These guys that hit on lap 16, although a couple of them still doing a phenomenal job. Canova's still in 5th. Nick Baum is in 6th. Holding most of these guys at bay on the newer tires. Drafty Beef being pressured by Jim Thorndike. This is for the 14th spot. Or should I say, yes, that's what I should say. Jim Thorndike pitted on lap 47 and got tires. So he'll get around the Beef, and Thorndike will now get around Ledesma Jr. like a ton of bricks here in the last couple laps, is beginning to fall off even more so, along with teammate Jacob Wilson. Nick Boyd now getting around, or getting up side by side now with Canova. Rob Higgs Jr. got around Canova. So if this stays green much longer in this run, it will potentially kill the hopes of these 3. Oh no!
Caution, caution, caution.
As Canova
All on you, man. All on you.
involved with Nick Boyd, and I just said if it stays green. Nick Boyd wrapped up into 2 incidents tonight, I think. That one might be the race ender by the looks of that car. Let's see what happened here. All good. And not sure. They're a tough one to call, but either way, Canova and Boyd both into the wall. Brings out our fourth caution of the evening. Fifth caution of the evening, I'm sorry, right here on lap 59. Kenny Kucko leads. Latham Joyner, Jake Raven, Aikman Pollard, Jeremy Gill. Nick Baum able to avoid it. Still managing 7th on way older tires. Got to believe he'll come in now, though. Of course, we're going to watch the front of the field and see if the whole field comes in now. Not sure. I think it's 4 set of tires, maybe 3. So a lot of these guys with that gamble there are going to be in a position they can't take a set of tires here. As now we have Rob Higgs Jr., Nick Baum, Canova, Ledesma Jr., Wilson, Presley, Raffini, and Shane Wheeldon all in. Panned out for a little bit. And we'll see how these guys can maneuver back through the field. You know, there were a couple of guys with the newer tires that were able to really jump on it and get through the field quickly. But then there were others that maybe picked up 1 or 2 spots, but some of those guys that had pit on lap 16 were really holding tough there. And so it didn't pan out for some like I thought it would. However, Kelly Akron now will be the last guy that pit on lap 47 in the standings. He'll be scored 14th. So we take a look at that silver and black mid-tier racing Toyota Camry of Akron, and Drafty Beef will be the last guy scored that pit on lap 35, and he currently sits 10th. So all sorts of strategy now. This guy here in the 1 will be the first guy to had pit on lap 59, which is our current caution we're under now. Or potentially Rob Higgs Jr. One of these 2 guys will be the first one scored as pitting on lap 59. 15th place is where that's going to be, and it will be Nick Baum in the 1. So 3 different potential strategies here going on. Nick Boyd still in pit. Canova still in pit. Gentner just coming off pit. Nick Boyd, Dylan Canova out of pits. He'll be scored 22nd. I have to believe he lost a lap there. He did. Lights are off on the pace car, and Kenny Kucko and Latham Joyner once again will lead us back to green here. 4 sets. Thank you, Derek. I'm just seeing that. 4 sets, so probably those guys on 35 didn't want to gamble there. Want to have a set, 2 sets maybe for late cautions. As now we're back to green and Kucko leads the way. Joyner drops in. Jake Raven will file in line in 3rd. Kucko eMotorsports top 3 for the time being. Having a heck of a run. Aikman Pollard. Oh, and a quick caution here now. Looks like Marty White, Kelly Akron involved. Nick Baum, Shane Wheeldon. Let's take a look at what happened here. As we see him 3 wide. As all good right now. Oh, it's up in front of him. Nick Baum. Oh, and Marty White just right into the side. Looked like maybe he was going to miss it. Let's take a look at Nick Baum here. Maybe a little sooner. Yeah, here we go. Oh, he just maybe, I don't know, combination of net code and both of them getting into each other. Oh, and then they just squeeze each other on the bottom side, which gets Robbie Minor and Shane Wielden involved. Whoo, Gentner barely missed it. Wonder how many laps Gentner is down. That might have made the difference there between a lucky dog or not. But everyone we just saw involved in that incident down pit road once again. So Joyner, or Kucko, Joyner, let's go through your top 10, in fact. Or even top 16 guys to stay out. Kenny Kucko is first. Latham Joyner scored second. Jake Raven in third. Aikman Pollard fourth. Jeremy Gill in fifth. Christian Proctor running sixth. Dalton Moore up to seventh, up 10 right now. Davis Shively is in eighth, right where he started. Jim Thorndike is in ninth, right where he started. Drafty Beef is in 10th, and he's up 15 right now. J.D. Van Kirk is up 11. He's in 11th. And Dan Ames is in 12th. Zach White is in 13th, up 15 as well as Drafty Beef right now. So good runs so far for them. Jorge Ledesma Jr. is down 9, currently 14th. That's that pit strategy that we saw come into play. Jacob Wilson is 15th. Timothy Presley 16th. Shane Wielden 17th, still on the lead lap. Kelly Akron 18th. And Rob Higgs will be 19th. Dylan Canova rounds out your top 20. And it appears like Canova is on the lead lap. Nick Raffini in the 03 is 21st. He's also on the lead lap now. Nick Baum, your first guy, not on the lead lap. Nick Boyd and Derek Catt still down pit road. Nick Baum going to pull it back down pit road. Maybe realize, hey, there's something more wrong with this thing than I originally thought. See how long he stays out there, or down there, rather. Kucko and Joyner going to bring us back. Rick Higgs, leave it to Rob to mess things up. I missed that comment, man. I'm sorry. Marty says, well, yep, that might be it for the 69 of Marty White. Getting ready to go back green here's been jumbled with cautions here in the last 15 or so laps as Kucko leads us back across the stripe, and Latham Joyner not going to be able to drop in this time as Jake Raven says, I'll go ahead and take over second spot. You can fall in behind me. Jeremy Gill up to fourth. They're side by side behind them. Teammates are the offset paints. That's Dalton Moore and Aikman Pollard here running for the 5 spot right now with Jim Thorndike right behind them. It's your first side-by-side battle in this race for these two guys, the 24 and the 25. And looks like 24 gonna beat him off exit. And Dalton Moore will take over 5th. Jim Thorndike taking the opportunity to dive underneath the 25 as well. as Thorndike has newer tires than everyone in front of him. He pit on lap 47. Lap 59 was Jorge Ledesma Jr. He's up to 12th right now, working on J.D. Van Kirk for 11th. Van Kirk staying high, and that allows Jorge Ledesma Jr. to get around him. He's got a little bit of a gap now, nearly a second to Drafty B for that 10th spot. We'll check back in there. Jim Thorndike now up to 5th as he's gotten around Gill and Pollard, but he's a little loose there. They're really tight. Keep it all clean, boys. About 4 or 5 cars, really tight quarters through here. Jim Thorndike looking to get into the top 5 and with his other 3 teammates. Cutco E-Motorsports having themselves a heck of a run right now. As all 4 Cutco E-Motorsports drivers are in the top 5. The only thing separating those 4 is this guy, Dalton Moore, in the 24. Christian Proctor pressuring Aikman Pollard on the outside now, as Proctor got tires last on lap 47. We're ticking down the laps here, and time's running out, folks. Jorge Ledesma Jr. Oh no, we got trouble. Trouble, we watched it live, but they're going to keep it clean. Big trouble for Proctor there, and it looked like maybe Thorndike. Yes, Thorndike way back there now. I just jinxed Cutco as far as having all 4 in the top 5. Aikman Pollard involved, but he stayed up in 5th. Jorge Ledesma takes over the 7th spot. With that incident, he was able to avoid, and he's got the freshest tires out of anyone in the top 10. Take that back. Jacob Wilson is 10th. He's pressuring Drafty Beef right now for the 9th spot. Drafty not letting him by easily. Got to put up a fight. Kenny Cutco and Joyner have checked out just a bit. Jake Raven behind him. Dalton Moore in 4th. Jeremy Gill in 5th. Jorge Ledesma Jr. up to 6th. As that little incident with Thorndike and Proctor spread out the field just a bit here. Dylan Canova has battled back to 11th now. Still on the lead lap. Gentner would be your lucky dog recipient at the moment. He's 2 laps down, being scored in 18th. Biggest mover still this guy, Drafty Beef. He's up 15th, or 15 rather, sitting 10th. Dylan Canova pitted on 63 though. It had damage and got tires. Probably gonna be passing Drafty Beef here momentarily, yes. Oh, it's now Drafty looks inside. Almost took her 3 wide. There's your leader still. Jorge Ledesma Jr. working on Dalton Moore. This is for the 4th spot. And he will get it. Dylan Canova side by side now with teammate Jacob Wilson. This is for the 8th spot. Canova temporarily will have it. Canova will have it now. Dan Ames battling here with Shane Wheeldon and J.D. Van Kirk as Wheeldon takes over the 13th spot now. He's up 13 on the evening to 13th. Jeremy Gill within striking distance of that 24 of Dalton Moore. Jorge Ledesma Jr. has chased down Jake Raven for the 3rd spot. This is going to make a world of difference here. If we get a late caution, Jorge Ledesma Jr. putting himself in a good spot to potentially win this thing because he probably still has another set of tires, I'd imagine. As Jeremy Gill did get by Dalton Moore for the 5th spot. So mid-tier racing number 4 of Jeremy Gill up into the top 5 for now. Drafty Beef battling with Davis Shively here. This is for your final spot in the top 10. And Kenny Kucko is pitting, folks. Aikman Pollard pitting. This has to be fuel. Oh, no. That puts Latham Joyner in the lead. Jorge Ledesma Jr. in 2nd. Raffini is not a factor right now as he just went to 4 laps down. That's who Joyner was getting by there, but still a large gap between Joyner and Ledesma Jr. Raven in 3rd, Canova in 4th. Couple more guys here pitting. Jeremy Gill, Dalton Moore, Drafty Beef, Kucko, Aikman Pollard. I guess didn't catch the pit cycle the way they wanted. I guess they might have been running out of fuel and had to pit because they didn't foresee a caution coming before they would have fully ran out. Man, that is tough break there. Now these guys pitting, hoping they don't get a caution so they all can get their laps back. The guys that haven't pit yet, hoping for a caution if they need to one more time. Shane Wheeldon all of a sudden finds himself as the biggest mover, up 18, along with Zach White up 17. But White pit on lap 47. I feel like he's going to have to pit again. Wheeldon maybe not, though. He pit with those guys on lap 63. As now Wheeldon being pressured by Timothy Presley, who pit on lap 59. I'm sure Presley will be fine to go the distance. All the guys that pit on 59. Jake Raven out there giving it everything he has. Joyner also pit on lap 35. So there's no way you're getting 70 laps, 65 laps out of a fuel cycle. That can't be. If that was the case, I don't think anyone else would have pitted that had brought it in on 35. I think he's just merely running it dry at this point as Presley moves into 7th. Good race, good battling back for Timothy Presley, but Shane Wielden battles back now on the outside in that 83, and they're 3 wide with Van Kirk just for half a second. 83, good move, cleared him and dropped down. He's going to make that pass. Up to 7th goes Shane Wielden now. Up 19 on the evening with potentially a couple more spots out there. If a couple of these guys in the top 3 still find themselves in a situation where they have to pit, we're 13 to go here. As now they're 3 wide. This is for the 4th spot. Sorry, Kuko does not factor in right now. He's 12th. He's fresh. He's got fresh tires. So he'll get around these guys, but Canova and Wilson are battling for the 4th spot. That's what I meant when I said it's for the 4th spot. Wilson pit a few laps earlier than Canova, but they are teammates, so we'll see how that plays out. I still have a hard time thinking that Joyner and Raven are good till the finish here. With others that were good, or that would have been good if these two would have been. If that makes sense. I can't see why 4 or 5 guys would have come down pit road if they potentially could have made it on fuel pitting at lap 35. We're going to see that gap to Ledesma Jr. for just about 4.5 seconds. Raffini potentially looking to get a lap back the old-fashioned way. He's 4 down right now, but why not run him hard? They're not teammates, folks. So no love lost there between these guys. Robbie Minor, you see catching them. Minor is in 34th, or 23rd rather, I'm sorry. 34th, not even 34 cars on the grid. What am I seeing? Not even a 34 car on the grid. Interesting. Well, whatever. Jacob Wilson is up 10. He's holding off Canova for the 4 spot right now. He last pit on lap 59. Derek, if you're still with us, mind enlightening us on how much fuel they may have here? Guys like Joyner and Jake Raven who pit last on lap 35? We're approaching 5 to go. Jake Raven is bringing her down pit road right now. Maybe not able to save enough. Is Raven? Latham Joyner still out there. Kuko just got his lap back. He scored in 12th. Man, how is this going to play out? Latham Joyner's down pit road, folks, with 7 to go. Holy smokes, Jorge Ledesma Jr. has the lead now. Jacob Wilson behind him. They both pit on lap 59, but it's a 2.5 second lead. Canova is in 3rd now. He pit on lap 63. Shively is in 4th. I just had a feeling that those guys were just not going to be able to make it. They were hoping and praying for a caution. Just did not get one. And Jorge Ledesma Jr. with 5 to go is your leader. Latham Joyner just rejoining now right in front of Ledesma Jr. Joyner scored 11th. Kuko up to 10th. And man, at what time was pure domination in the top 5 by Kuko E Motorsports. Now nobody of Kucko eMotorsports is in the top 5. And only one in the top 10, and that's Kucko. This race turned on its head here due to no caution. Jorge Ledesma Jr. leading the way, but this guy, Jacob Wilson, wants something to say about it before the end. He's not going to have enough time to cut the gap by 2 seconds. If Jorge Ledesma Jr. keeps it clean and we don't have a caution, he's going to get his first win in top-tier racing. In absolutely masterful display of driving and strategy by the Revved Up Racing guys, who are sitting top 2 right now. Sorry, top 3. Dylan Canova is sitting 3rd. Davis Shively in 4th. Proctor not a factor here. Back in 22nd. Shane Wheeldon rounds out your top 5, up 21. Jorge Ledesma Jr. takes the white flag. He's just trying to bring it home now as he has Jeremy Gill and Thorndike behind him, but they are non-factors in position. Jorge Ledesma Jr. brings it off of 4, and he wins at Texas. Incredible race by Jorge Ledesma Jr. and all of Revved Up Racing. They got the clean sweep on the top 3. Holy smokes. We kept speculating if the Kucko eMotorsports guys that had stayed out were somehow going to have enough fuel. And with 7 to go, it turned out they didn't, which turned this race absolutely upside down. Jake Raven finished in 15th. Kenny Kucko finished in 10th. He pitted on lap 81. Latham Joyner 11th. Wow. What a finish. And Jorge Ledesma Jr. gets it done. Perfectly played strategy by all of Revved Up Racing, and Nick Ruffini, the only one of the 4 not to have a strong race, but he started 18th, he finished 19th, and I mean, he was up there at times, hard to make it work, but these top 3, holy smokes. Let's get with them right now. Dylan Canova is first on the list as he brought home 3rd. In fact, we'll give him a couple minutes to celebrate here, as they're not in the interview room just yet, but heck of a race here tonight at Texas for the Drafty Beef birthday bash. Let's take a look at results while we wait on them. In fact, empty, get rid of that. There we go. Jorge Ledesma Jr. picks up the win. Jacob Wilson finishes 2nd. Dylan Canova gets 3rd. Davis Shively finishes in 4th. And Shane Wheeldon, a masterful job to finish up 21 spots on the evening and bring home 5th. J.D. Van Kirk finishes in 6th. Well done to him as well. Up 16 spots. Timothy Presley will... Kelly Akron will finish in 7th, up 14. Timothy Presley will finish in 8th. And Zach White will finish 9th, up 19. Another great race there from him. A lot of big movers in this one. Rounding out your top 10 is Kenny Kucko. Latham Joyner finishes 11th. Jeremy Gill finishes in 12th. Dalton Moore brings home 13th. Aikman Pollard finishes 14th. Jake Raven 15th. Drafty Beef in 16th. And 17th was Dan Ames. Patrick Gentner in 18th. And Nick Raffini in 19th. Rounding out your top 10 is Nick Baum. Our top 20. Boy, I'm losing it here. Nick Boyd will be scored 21st. Christian Proctor 22nd. Robbie Miner 23rd. Jim Thorndike 24th. 25th was Rob Higgs Jr. 26th was Derek Catt. Marty White in 27th. And rounding out your field with what I think was technical difficulties is Jarrett Martin in the 00. Let's get back to the top of the board. We got our top 3 waiting for us. Let's get with Dylan Canova now. Dylan, Joshua in the booth. You got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got.
Man, after last week's craziness after the race, this one has to feel good to come out here and start 10th, finish 3rd. Tell us about how the car felt all night, what your plan was after getting involved in an incident to get back onto it.
The car felt really good. It definitely changed throughout the course of a run. Obviously, we started 10th, kind of drove up to the front, got the second before the first caution, and then took the lead. And then it just kind of became a strategy call. We weren't sure. We're getting cautions every 15 laps or so, and I'm like, we should probably save a set of tires in case. Obviously, that ended up not mattering with the way it worked out. Guess it worked out in the end though for us because we on our pit cycle we ended up having enough fuel to make it to the end. Feel bad for I think Boyd there. I don't know if the two in front of him checked up or what happened. I saw it looked like Gill kind of out of shape, and then I went to the top just trying to make sure I wasn't involved. And then by the time I noticed he was coming up, I tried to get off the gas. It's just ended up not having enough room there. So I feel bad for him because he had a fast car and was coming up there through the field when we were just riding.
Yeah, man, that was interesting incident. We took a close, not a close look. We took a quick look at it and moved on. We were like, well, too close to call to see what actually happened there. So, but now I'm looking at the results here. Top 3, all revved up racing. It obviously had to do with that strategy for you guys, Jacob and Jorge, to pit on lap 59 and then you to come down on lap 63. Talk us through what was going through your minds at that moment to make that strategy call and obviously have it end up paying off immensely in the end.
I mean, we were sitting there after that second caution or so, and I'm like, well, I was like, now we kind of got to make a decision here because we're burning through tires if we keep pitting. So as a group, we decided we're going to try and save the tires because the last thing you want is to get to lap 90, have a 10-lap run, and not have fresh tires to put on it because you'll be a sitting duck. I mean, you see how fast Kenny and Latham, blew back by us with fresh tires. So it's like we need to at least make sure we have a set in the event we have a late caution. So we kind of stayed out, and then we all pitted on that one caution. Unfortunately, I ended up with a little bit of damage in that, so I came back down a few laps later because we had that quick caution, which kind of worked out for me because I ended up with the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap and get some damage fixed. And so it just kind of worked out. We were like, 20 laps to go, and I'm like, I don't think they're good on fuel. And then a couple laps later, Kenny pitted, and I just told Jorge, I said, just give it everything you've got. It's like they've all got a pit.
Yeah, and we were watching it down the stretch there. Of course, Kenny pitted, as you mentioned, lap 81. And then we were starting to see Latham and Jake Raven really stretch it out. And I was speculating, I'm thinking there's no way pitting on lap 35 that they have enough fuel to go to lap 100. There's just absolutely no way, even with cautions. And someone in the chat that was in this evening's race at the time was out of it. I said, can you give us some insight? What are we looking like on fuel? Right as I asked, then we saw Latham Joyner and Jake Raven come down pit road with 7 laps to go. And I knew at that point you, Jacob, and Jorge played it perfectly, and we're going to finish top 3 unless, of course, late caution, which we've seen plenty of. But congrats, man. Awesome team win. You guys are doing fantastic in the team standings, team championship, sitting first place right now. This obviously will expand that lead on Kukoe Motorsports and Royalty Motorsports, but we'll let you go enjoy this team podium tonight. That'll be a fun one, and we'll see you back out here next week, sir.
Thank you.
Once again, folks, that was your third place finisher, Dylan Canova. Really, really nice to get insight from him, and of course, we're going to have more talking to Jacob and Jorge as well. Let's get with Jacob Wilson, who was your second place finisher tonight, and in the midst of 2 teammates. I'm sure he'll be happy. Jacob, Joshua out in the booth, you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir.
Man, absolute wild race last week that didn't pan out in the end. Absolute wild race this week that did pan out in the end for almost all of Revved Up Racing. Talk us through what your thoughts were coming into this evening, and then after qualifying, you started 14th on the field right there in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, I'm not usually the best qualifier, so I wasn't too concerned. Just in practice, I was worried that it felt like it was building a little tight, at least in my initial run. So I was a little worried it was going to be kind of like Las Vegas, where I struggled a little bit. And I definitely wasn't the fastest car out there, but definitely that longer run, I felt like I kind of evened out a little bit. And we were just kind of playing the strategy there in case we got like a bunch of cautions. We stayed out on that one caution to have that extra tire set for the end. We ended up not really needing it, but we pitted. When we pitted, we were good to go on fuel to the end, and so we were kind of going to be in the catbird seat either way. I'm really proud of Jorge. He did a wonderful job. He's really been improving over the last several months, and so we're excited to see him win. I wouldn't want to finish second to anybody else, but if I had to choose somebody, I'd choose Jorge. He's such a nice guy. So definitely a great night for all my guys. Nick had a rough go at it, but hopefully we'll get him a win over here in the top tier series before too long. But overall good night. I'll take it.
Heck yeah, man. And you know what? Nick has been up in your shoes several times, so I'm sure he'll be perfectly fine celebrating this one with you guys. As I just mentioned to Dylan, you expand your lead on the points championship, the team points championship, I should say, by this really, really impressive run. Another thing I wanted to mention, you had mentioned pitting lap 59, good to go on fuel from there. I think those guys that had stayed out, such as Joyner, Raven, Kukoe Motorsports, basically made an opposite call that, okay, we've had a slew of cautions here. I feel like there's going to at least be one more. Maybe we can offset the pit cycles by that point with the tires, and then everyone pit together. In that case, it would have worked out. In your case, it didn't. It worked out perfectly because there wasn't another caution from lap 59. It was wild.
Yeah, we definitely were thinking that we'd kind of gone like every 15 to 20 laps that we had a caution, and so that's kind of was the trend of the race, and that's kind of what we were planning for. We were hoping that that's kind of what we'd have, and we would have that extra set of tires with 10 to go. Maybe if we had a caution, we'd be able to pit, and everyone else would have older tires and not have an extra set. But the long run with the fuel mileage worked out for us. I've lost a bunch of those, won some, so it's just the luck of the game. But
100%.
Overall, good night.
Yeah, 100%, right? It could have, just as easily as it worked out for you guys to finish all top 3, it could have just as easily worked out where you were flip-flopped with Kukoe Motorsports, should that have happened. But, hey, you got to take gambles, you got to make moves, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, Jacob,
right.
We'll let you go enjoy this team win and amazing race. But before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out tonight?
Yes, sir. All my great sponsors, Circle W Farms, the No Names, Floors by Dennis, Victory Fuel. You can use code RevDup51 for 10% off on your purchase. And then, we've got, a great group of guys here. We work hard. We try to have a good time and, stay positive. We try not to get into the drama, but sometimes it eats us up a little bit. But that's life. But we try to have a good time, and we try to work hard, and things are on the up. So thank you guys for watching tonight.
All right on, man. Go enjoy this one, Jacob. We'll see you back here next week.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Once again, folks, that was your second place winner, Revved Up Racing team member Jacob Wilson. But now we got to get with the man of the hour with his first win in top tier racing, the number 44, Jorge Ledesma Jr.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? Welcome in. This is unreal. The strategy call that Revved Up Racing played, the driving through the field that you were able to accomplish on slightly newer tires. I even said at one point when you had elected not to take tires after that first pit stop that you were doing extremely well holding on and battling for positions to not fall all the way back to the back of the field. Talk us through not only that call, but then what it was like to realize with 7 to go that you could win this thing.
Oh, man. Yeah. So the strategy not to pit was, okay, so if this race keeps getting cautions and these guys start burning up their tires, we wanted to have a set for the end just in case if it was like 10 laps to go, we put on a fresh set, they're stuck, we'll just drive around on by. Obviously kind of cautions fell, it was a little awkward, we finally pitted, and then it went green the rest of the way, and we're like, okay, of course now it's going to be a long run, let's see what happens. And honestly, when Latham pitted, I was just sitting there, and honestly before that I was sitting there just like, please no cautions, I really don't need a caution right now. If this goes green, I think I have a shot at a podium. Honestly, I wasn't even thinking win. I was thinking podium. But then it came to when Latham pitted, Jacob and Dylan weren't catching me. And I'm like, oh, this is actually becoming a reality here. All right.
Yeah, man. I think the fact that you had such a large gap on your teammates there, we were seeing the deficit to you go down a little bit by Wilson, but it got real with about 4 to go that Wilson wasn't going to have enough to catch you. Not to mention they were back there in a little bit more traffic trying to battle through. So heck of a drive from you. I've mentioned to your teammates, of course, and I'll mention to you that gutsy move there to pit basically the whole team on lap 59/63 once again for Canova versus Cucko's strategy tonight, the motorsports boys over there, to stay out, probably assuming, hey, you know what, we're going to get one last caution here. How do you feel if that scenario had played out and there was one last caution? Do you feel like it would have been switched right now, potentially? Because at one time we did see all 4 members of Cucko in the top 5. Obviously, it pays off immensely for you guys. But how do you feel that played out in your favor?
It definitely did, obviously, but I mean, it definitely, if another caution came out, I think it would have been them. They were definitely faster than us, except for Dylan. But Dylan was struggling with damage. But if he would have gotten another caution, he would have been able to pit, repair it, and he would have battled up front with Latham and Kenny and stuff. But as far as me, I probably was going to be sitting about 5th through 7th, which honestly would have been a great run. I would have been very happy with it. But everything just worked out. The strategy call made by Dylan and Jacob worked to our benefit, and I just drove it, man. That's all I did was just drive.
Heck yeah, man. Well, this is a big one. This is your second league win overall. Your first one in Triss's Learning Center Gen 6 series for top tier racing. So has to feel good. Talk to us about the path, if you will, that you've taken last season, this season, to get now to where you're not only competing for top 10s, but you're qualifying the car in the top 5 and competing for wins, obviously, at the end.
Yeah, it's it's been actually pretty surreal. I'm barely just shy of my 1 year anniversary for iRacing. And to come in and starting in season 1 with top tier, I was just trying to be able to just stay out of everybody's way and just learn and stuff like that. And then I joined obviously you at Royalty for a bit and learned a lot there. And then switched over to Revved Up, learned some more too. It's just been a nice progression, and everybody's been helping out. It's truly amazing. I can't believe that I've won a race here in top tier a year ago, thinking I'm like, man, if I could just run in the top 10, I'll be very happy. So this is surreal.
Right on, man. Well, I'm glad to see it happen. It was exciting to watch. I'm glad to see a new winner, a first-time winner. Really exciting for broadcast purposes, and then obviously points and playoff purposes down the road as well. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out, though?
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, Dylan and Jacob, my teammates there, they made that strategy call for us to do it. Nick as well, JD, Drafty, and Kenny for putting on this amazing league. You putting on this amazing broadcast with Royalty Racing Network. Victory Fuel, Circle W Farms, and No Names, pinups4vets.com. What else? What do we got up there? And then my kids, man. RJ, Braden, Riley. Man, this win goes out to you three. Like, holy crap.
Heck yeah, man. You're going to have them watch this one back if they're not watching live. But Jorge, finally, you've heard it once before, but you've never heard it until now in top tier racing. Go pop the champagne in Victory Lane and enjoy this one, buddy. Congrats.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Definitely will.
Yes, sir. Once again, folks, that is your winner, the 44 of Jorge Ledesma Jr. Man, what a race. That one was one of my favorites on the season simply because of how quick it developed into a pure strategy play. Yes, we had some cautions along the way, very jumbled together there. But we got it clean and green from lap 63 all the way to the end, including a couple good green flag runs in between. But right away after the second caution, we saw different strategies play out, and I knew it would be a good one. Awesome to see a first-time winner and a lot of big movers. Let's go through a few of them. Jacob Wilson, just talked to him, up 12. Shane Wielden, top 5. He finished up 21 spots. J.D. Van Kirk, up 16. Kelly Akron with a top 10. He finished up 14. Zach White with a top 10. He finished up 19. Unreal performances by the top 9 drivers. Then you get back to the strategy play. Jeremy Gill up 4, Dalton Moore up 4, Drafty Beef not where he would have liked. I know he'll be kicking himself, but he still finished up 9. Patrick Gentner up 9. So a lot of substantial movement from the back to the front. A lot of it was the strategy, but we're going to go ahead and close this one out, and we'll see you back here next week. But first and foremost, we'd like to thank the great folks at Trisha's Learning Center, devoting their lives to children since 1992. From 0 to 12 years old, with daycare, after-school programs, and more. Thank you for being the title sponsor of the Top Tier Racing Gen 6 series this season. And thank you for everything you do for the kids and the future of tomorrow. Majestic Promotional and Branded Apparel, whether you run a company, a government agency, a sports team, or even a virtual race team, turn every item into a statement with Majestic Promotional and Branded Apparel. Comment for details or message me on Discord and we'll get you connected. SM Racing Products. Take your sim racing to the next level with custom-made button boxes, dashboards, flag lights, and more with SM Racing Products. Check them out at sm-racingproducts.com. And as always, use promo code ROYALTY at checkout for 20% off of your purchase of $150 or more. great American-made, personally made with love. You got to get yourself an SM Racing product, button box, flag, light, or one of the many more that they have. But for everyone here at Trish's Learning Center Gen 6 Series and Top Tier Racing, Royalty Racing Network, I am Joshua King, and I appreciate you joining me all night, and I hope I kept you entertained. I certainly was entertained myself. We'll be back here tomorrow night with the championship race for the SCS RA Cup Series, and we'll be back here next Tuesday. No Saturday broadcast, unfortunately, for us this weekend, as we all have other affairs to tend to, but we will be back next Tuesday right back here, Royalty Racing Network, for this very series. Have a good rest of your Tuesday evening and a good rest of the week. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.